Welcome to the At Leisure Podcast. This is a show about sports, video games, movies, and just basically things we do at our leisure time. My name is Brett, and I'm joined by a new guest, an Oklahoma State realist, Bryson. Thanks for coming on, man.
Hey, thanks for having me. I know I'm the backup OK State fan, but hopefully I can be the Baron Morton to the regular Tyler Shuck for your OSU gang.
Oh, look at that. Already throwing in Texas Tech references. You're already better than the last guy. No offense if you're listening, last guy. But if you are just joining, we're continuing our Big 12 college football preview series where we are getting to know all of the Big 12 schools with someone who's a fan of each team. This week we're diving into the oddly quiet and often successful Oklahoma State Cowboys. You ready to get into it?
Let's do it.
So what are you most excited about with this team? I honestly have not heard a lot of excitement about Oklahoma State.
We're slept on a little bit in national media. And, part of that probably a little bit earned. And so, we got a lot of new faces this year, so I can see the season going a lot of ways, but we'll get into that when we go over kind of schedule a little bit. But first thing that jumps off to me when I look at the team and think about strengths is our schedule this year. Because
Schedule, that's awesome.
It is an easy schedule. We play all four of the newcomers in the Big 12, including our last 3 weeks of the season. We get them. So after, they're playing with the big boys all season long, we get them in the very end there. We don't play TCU. We don't play Texas. And we don't play Tech.
Yeah. Oh, do you play Baylor? I don't think you play Baylor either,
We don't
right?
play Baylor either. That's right.
Yeah, no Texas teams. Like, what the heck? How did that happen?
And then, not only that, but we get OU in Stillwater, and we get Kansas State in Stillwater.
That's crazy.
Yeah, if there's anything going for us this year, it's the schedule.
Is there any excitement around any specific players? Or I know you got a bunch of new quarterbacks coming in.
I'm really excited about the receivers this year. I was also really excited about them last year, and a few injuries happened, so a few disappointments. But we got some good transfers in this year. A few young guys that are looking to step up. So number one is Brennan Presley. He's been our slot guy. Bedlam hero a couple years ago, returned a kick for a touchdown. Last year he had 67 receptions, 813 yards. Year before that, 51 for 619 yards. And so, feeling good about him. Small little guy, super quick. Sadly, his brother just transferred out to Tulsa, so RIP to him.
Must not have the same talent, right?
Yeah, we'll see. But then another one I'm really excited for is Talon Shetron. He's coming in. He's a redshirt freshman. He was some places have him as a 4, some places have him as a 5-star receiver. So he played a little bit last year, got banged up a little bit, but a lot of talent there. Really excited. We got a Wazoo transfer, Dazon Stribling.
Oh, I kind of remember him.
Yeah, he had 602 yards last year, so he's kind of slotted as our X-receiver right now. You could see him ended up leading the team in yards.
What a good third option.
Mm-hmm. And then we have Jaden Bray, who is he's a redshirt sophomore, and he played some in 2021, had some injuries, but in those very few games, dude is electric. Last year, barely played at all. I think he said that he had a broken thumb 3 separate times during the season. Yeah, but he's out of Norman and super talented receiver, and so love to see that.
Some positions you can play with a broken thumb. Receiver is not one of them.
Yeah, you're done.
You're just sidelined. Golly, I bet that's so frustrating for him.
Yeah. We had another receiver. His name was Bruce Arland. He's from Iowa. He just transferred in, but
we know Iowa, the factory for all those wide receivers out there.
Yep. Also Iowa, factory for gambling too, because
apparently
he's caught up in the gambling thing, so he's
not
on
really?
the team. Yep, away from team activities, as they say.
Crazy.
But yeah, receiver I think could be a real strength for us this year, especially quarterbacks, all new quarterbacks pretty much.
Yeah.
And so kind of having at least something going on the skill positions there for him will be good.
That is dangerous, though, when your best position group is kind of reliant on another position group,
For sure. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This season could go a lot of ways.
Yeah.
It's a wild card season right now for me. But something I'm also really excited about, and I do think could end up being a strength for us, is the defense.
Okay. Just in general, the defense, huh?
Just in general. 2 years ago, one of the best defenses in the whole nation.
Mm-hmm.
It was great. Last year, a horrible defense. Couldn't stop a thing. And, so now we're on our third defensive coordinator in 3 years. A guy by the name of Brian Nardo.
Brian Nardo. Mike Gundy, man, he's pulling these people out of nowhere.
Yeah, you ever heard of Gannon University?
No.
D2 school. That's where he got him from.
Gannon. Oh my gosh. I heard about this, but I didn't realize it's your defensive coordinator.
Yep.
I thought it was like a
positional coach, our actual defensive coordinator.
He's going to look like a genius or an idiot after this season. That's incredible.
Exactly. It's not the first time he's just pulled a guy out of.
No, I guess not.
Mike Yurcich, who was the OC for the Mason Rudolph year, he was from some tiny school, and remember they were just talking about he would do game plans with Legos.
No, he wouldn't.
That was the budget they were working with.
No way. That sounds fake. Oh my gosh.
I know.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah, but Brian Nardo's coming in, switching up the scheme a little bit.
Okay.
We're switching to a 3-3-5 defense, which will be really good for us because we have a lot of speed on the defense.
I was about to say, you got to have a lot of defensive backs for that.
Yeah.
You trust.
Yeah, well, we'll get into that.
Yeah.
But I trust the linebackers. We've had a few transfers on the defense that I'm excited to see, and it's an athletic group, and they are fast overall. And one I'm really looking forward to seeing with the change in scheme is Colin Oliver, who as a freshman, I think he had 13.5 sacks. And then last year, I want to say he had 7.5. But
okay,
the way that our defensive coordinator was using him last year was really interesting and not necessarily playing to his strengths. And so they're kind of moving him off the D end and pushing him to that linebacker in the 3-3-5. And so I'm excited to see what he's able to do from that position. Also an Edmond boy, so shout out him.
Little hometown cooking.
Yeah,
that's cool. I love that. That's Tech. I'm always wanting us to recruit West Texas hard, and we're doing it now. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, Joey McGuire.
McGuire. We'll get to. I kind of want to ask you about your feeling about the coach. So let's.
We'll get into that.
Wait, yeah, we're talking strengths right now. So
exactly, and yeah, so man, like I said, there's just a whole lot of question marks on the season. So I do think wide receiver is a near lock. I think defense I'm pretty confident they're going to be good. And then something else I'm excited to see that I think it could end up being really good for us is we're kind of changing up our offensive mindset quite a bit.
Okay.
Gundy's kind of come out and talked about how he wants to focus more on being able to run the ball. So we're kind of switching to more of a gap scheme in the run game, which will help out our offensive line a lot because I think we asked a lot of our offensive linemen last year, and we have recently, and it's not been a strength of ours in the past.
Offensive line hasn't?
Yeah, it is not in the past 5 years. So
I was never sure if it was Sanders or if it was the line. Because Sanders, I felt like he would bail out of the pocket pretty quick. Early
There's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of both, especially last year though. I mean, had a lot of injuries. Ended up being a very young group playing.
Yeah.
And I mean, we had I think it's the worst running season in OSU since 2001.
Whoa, I did not realize that.
Mm-hmm. And that was, I think, Gundy's first year's OC for OSU. I think it was Les Miles' his first year as head coach. So, yeah,
wow.
Long time ago. Yeah, so I mean, our leading rusher had 543 yards on the season. If that tells you anything.
And he's leaving, right? He's the guy.
Yeah, he's the guy that went to. He's at Baylor. So running overall was horrible last year. They kind of, went back to the lab, I think, over the offseason. Gundy said they studied a lot of the 49ers film.
Okay.
So now we obviously do not have the 49ers offensive line still, I'll tell you that much. But I'm feeling a lot better about that as a whole, and I think that'll be good for our quarterbacks too.
Yeah.
Especially if we end up going with Garrett Rangel instead of Bowman because he's a younger guy, so being able to kind of lean on the run game a little bit more and not put all the pressure on him will be good. But,
that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the
So,
last
and
strength
I
I
was going to
got.
say, and you're saying strength and also talking about a big weakness from last year. So I'm like, you're doing a good transition here.
Yeah. I mean, may as well head into that weakness of
Exactly.
the O-line is, I don't know how they're going to be.
Yeah.
If it's a repeat of last year, it's not going to be a good season.
Is it mostly the same guys? I know I will get into it later, but I think there's a transfer that is boosting y'all. And
The good thing is there is experience returning. And that's, you want to think that, they kind of develop a little bit more. If Gundy is good with anything, it's kind of getting the most out of his players and kind of helping them develop throughout their years in college. So you want to hope that, they've kind of developed over the summer a little bit, gotten a little bit better. We do have a transfer from Texas State who, man, I know they just released a depth chart, and it was nice to see that they had no oars on the depth chart, I will say. Like, it was all the starting line was all like, we know who's starting.
Pretty locked.
Yeah. So that maybe inspires some confidence, but it's one of those things where we have not had a great offensive line in a really long time. So I'm going to wait and see the results before I actually, fully trust that anything has changed.
Buy in. Yeah, I get that.
And, kind of a big weakness, I think, is all the new faces we have this year. I mean,
could be a weakness or strength, depending on.
It could be a strength.
I mean, it's not like y'all were amazing last year, so sometimes fresh faces can be good.
Yeah, and I'll get into this weakness a little bit more, I think, when we start talking about the coaching stuff.
Yeah.
But if you kept up with OSU, it's kind of a portal exodus to start the whole off season, which was,
I kind of saw that. Do you know what that was about? Is there any insight?
Oh man, there's conflicting reports. Some people felt like they weren't being used right. Some people just may not have been a culture fit. Some people feel like they might have been getting the chance.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was interesting, and like I said, I'll get into that probably a little bit more when we start talking about Gundy. But yeah, like you said, it could be a big positive with all the new people in, and it could also not be, because may not necessarily have that full team chemistry with each other, which is always tough. But it's also just college football now, and I mean, especially for schools that are kind of in the middle ground of, like, especially where with OSU is, it's like we're really good at kind of finding these lower recruits and developing them. But now that we can develop them, and then they go, and it's like we're a farm system for like all these blue bloods.
Oh, that's miserable.
I'm obviously happy that the players can go and they have the power to, do this now, because it's great for the players.
Mm-hmm.
But it does suck.
Tough for the fans.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like that. I'm not seeing that a ton in most Big 12 schools. It's happening every now and then. It happened a lot to OU, but that was such a weird situation with Riley leaving.
Right.
So it sucks to hear that that's kind of how y'all feel about OSU, but I guess that's more than how you feel. It's kind of what it is.
Mm-hmm. Another, I think, potential weakness this season could be our corners. They weren't exactly great last year, but they were pretty young. And, I mean, one of them is Corey Black, who I think is a redshirt senior, but he didn't really play until last year. And so the other one is, I think, Cam Smith is his name, and he is also the same as he didn't really play until last year. And with the 3-3-5, they're going to be tested a little bit. Going to be asked a lot of them in coverage. And I feel good about our safeties. But
yeah, y'all have one safety. I think it's that was the best player. Daniels?
Yeah.
Is that who? Yeah, Daniels is good.
Yeah, I love Daniels. And I'll be singing his praises here in a little bit. I love him.
Oh, man, a good safety's fun to watch.
He's big, too. That's the best part.
Yeah.
Let's see how tall. There's some picture of him with all the other defensive backs.
It's kind of unusual for a safety.
And he looks like he's just not even playing the same position as them. Yeah, he's 6'4", 195.
Dang.
Yeah, he's
6'4".
huge. And I would bet weighs a little bit more than 195 now after college.
Sounds like he decided to play the wrong position, but I guess not, because he's killing it.
Yeah, and he's quick.
Yeah,
so
somehow.
But, which I guess
don't have one of those on the corners, huh?
Yeah.
Not one of those guys.
No, but so corner could be rough, but I do think this is a great kind of transition into the returning players.
Yeah.
Let's keep talking about Kendall Daniels because, man, he's also kind of switching a little bit positions-ish because in Nardo's defense, he kind of has like a rover position, which is just a safety
Oh,
in a
yeah,
way.
right. Like the nickel.
Right, exactly. A little safety kind of linebacker hybrid a little bit. And the guy who played for him at Gannon last year had 91 tackles, 4 interceptions, and 7 pass breakups.
Okay.
And so I'm excited to see what Daniels, who is if there's anyone on the OSU team, if there's anyone on the OSU team that's going to be starting on Sundays, it's going to be him. Because last year, as a freshman, he had 71 tackles, 6.5 tackles for loss, 3 interceptions, and 5 pass breakups. Big 12 defensive freshman of the year. The dude is an alien on the field.
Man, and like I said, it's just so comforting to have a good safety back there because you're like, that's your last line of defense so often. You don't always want them getting good stats because that means the rest of your defense is struggling. But at the same time, it's like, well, we at least know we've got him back there if we are screwing up.
And he's one of those guys where it's fun because, like I said, the dude is 6'4". And so even in those kind of more open field situations, like he can just light a dude up. So,
yeah, I'm excited to watch him too. I didn't realize he was so tall.
Yeah, he's crazy. It'll be interesting to see once he kind of gets to that NFL if they try to make him into a more of a middle linebacker. We'll see. Another player, returning key players, like I said, Colin Oliver, kind of talked about him.
Linebacker, right? You said?
Yeah, he is. I mean, like I said, he has the sacks. He also has 23 tackles for loss in the last 2 seasons. And so, yeah, moving from DN to linebacker in the new scheme. So
nice.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have a guy. We have a guy at outside linebacker moving to middle linebacker, but
interesting.
Like, was Oliver like down in like a 3-point stance?
Yeah, I mean, he would switch up a little bit. He was definitely a little bit smaller for a DN. I mean, he's 6'2", 220, so he's a little bit smaller for a DN.
It's a big linebacker and a small defensive end.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, he's quick, and if you're going to know him from anything, you'll know him from the game-saving Bedlam sack on Caleb Williams, where he kind of got blocked into the ground and then crawled and grabbed Caleb Williams by the heels.
I do remember that play. I didn't know that was him.
Yep. So, already just a legend in Stillwater just for that. Because not a lot of OU wins coming in when you got a signature moment in those.
Yeah,
big.
True. Like 1 of 17 all time.
And then, I mean, another returning player we already talked about, Brennan Presley. Excited to see him in his senior year. He's one of those guys that got a chance for like a receiving touchdown or rushing touchdown and a return touchdown. So that'll be fun.
Fun guys.
Hopefully. Yeah. Yeah, I think the last really returning guy I want to highlight, I haven't talked about yet, is Ollie Gordon. So he's our running back. He's a freshman last year. So he didn't play a ton. He only got 62 carries. But, all of his carries pretty much came towards the end of the season when our offensive line was banged up and was just horrid, like just letting everyone through. And he took those 62 carries for 308 yards. So as a freshman, averaging 5 yards a carry behind our offensive line last year, I'm really, really excited to see what he does this year. When he got the ball in his hands last year, he looked great, really shifty back, and can move in tight spaces. Not scared of contact at all, and it seems like the team loves him. He's kind of a great locker room guy. So,
maybe that's why the other guy transferred. He saw, writing on the wall.
I think it is because we also have another running back, Jaden Nixon, who's kind of the speed guy, who's kind of a great compliment, kind of guy you want as your nice number 2. So, I don't think Richardson would have got the carries that he got last year. So
I wasn't sure about your running game since you were so bad last year, you said, and you lost your best running back from last year. So, I feel like a lot might land on this guy's shoulders here, Ollie.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see what he does. I think he was a 4-star recruit, so kind of got the pedigree and super high energy guy. I'm excited to see what he does as the RB1 for the season.
Want to go into the new players? Any new players you want to highlight? I mean, we kind of already talked about Stribling. Anyone else?
Yeah, I mean, of course, your man, Alan Bowman.
Yeah. Okay,
So,
let's just jump into this real quick before we get into
yeah,
other players.
yeah.
Do you want him to win the job? Do you have a preference? How are you feeling about it?
I don't have a preference necessarily.
Okay.
It's tough because we have Garrett Rangel, who he didn't look great last year in his starts
I
that
would
he had.
venture to say you look bad, but
Yeah, I would go probably as far to say looking real rough.
yeah.
But of course,
He's
I'm
a
not.
college quarterback. He's good, but I
Yeah,
get what,
I mean,
yeah, you
he
get
was
what we're saying.
he's a 4-star guy and he has the skill. And also, I'm not going to fault a true freshman playing with that OSU team in the last 6 weeks of the season because that was not even a football team by that point. But I mean, there's been some great things about him and all the work he's put in and how he's kind of transformed his body over the summer. So I like the potential there and kind of seeing what could happen if he wins the job.
Right.
But of course with Bowman, I mean, you love the experience and it never hurts for a quarterback to kind of sit another year and kind of take it all in a little bit more. In camp, from what everyone says, it sounds like it's Bowman's job, but Gundy kind of keeps pushing this.
Battle.
Yeah. He even came out and said the other day, we're going to play 2 quarterbacks or multiple quarterbacks to start the season.
Oof.
I don't. Now, also you got to see that our first game is University of Central Arkansas, so it's just a scrimmage.
Not exactly world beaters. Yeah.
Yeah, so once we get into week 2 in Arizona State, I would bet there's 1 quarterback starting. And if I put money on anyone, it'd be Alan Bowman. Gundy loves the experience of players. And I think I saw Alan Bowman is the only college quarterback, like still active college quarterback with a 600-yard game.
Really?
Yeah.
I remember that game.
Yeah.
He's a stud. I think it was against Houston, right?
I think so. Which, hey, maybe he can recapture that this year.
Hey, maybe he can. They're going to have a battle of the old Texas Tech quarterbacks, so
true.
That'll be a fun game for us to watch on the side.
Yeah. So I mean, he's obviously when he was younger, a lot of promise, a lot of talent.
Yeah.
A lot of injuries.
So many injuries, man. I said it on another podcast, but we would have won that game against Oklahoma if he had not punctured his lung.
Yep.
When they had Kyler Murray, they were coming into Lubbock, and we were ahead at halftime, and then he didn't come out, and we are like, what happened? And we learned, he punctured his lung on his scramble.
Yeah,
and he was never the same after that. The potential,
that was sad.
Man.
I remember that because, of course, I'm always looking for OU to lose. So that one was sad.
I'll be rooting for if Alan Bowman's y'all's quarterback, I'll be rooting for y'all pretty much every game because y'all don't play Tech. So
exactly, which travesty, I will say.
Travesty. I can't believe it. We need to stick together.
I agree.
We look at each other in the mirror, and it's just basically the same team. Y'all have a little more success than us, but
yeah,
man,
I mean, even just all around sports, around sports, it would be great, man. Yeah, which I hope we start pushing that with the new whatever conference we are.
I'm sure it'll happen. Surely we won't have years where we're not playing each other, but I'm not in charge. In your mark, we trust, as we've said.
True. Hey, and I love any commissioner that's asking a team to beat Texas.
Tell me about it. Oh, man, I got some Texas fans and some OU fans texting me being like, don't like this guy. And I'm like, well, we don't like y'all, so.
Hey, hopefully they let players throw horns down on the field this year. Don't have to protect the little Texas fan base.
The SEC is already writing some rules for them.
Yeah,
we got a little sidetracked.
Hey, I always love a good tangent. Let's see.
I was going to say, any other new players you want to highlight? Alan Bowman.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's the starter because I want to watch him play one more time.
Yeah, I'd love to see what he's still got in the tank.
Same.
I'd love to see that. So, yeah. I mean, I think he'll be the number 1 quarterback starting first week, and then I think will for sure be starter by week 2.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't just
get hurt.
Wet the bed.
Yeah.
Get hurt. Yeah, that's actually more likely. Yeah. Jeez. Oh, man, I'll feel so bad for him if he gets hurt.
So we got a linebacker coming in from Tulsa, Justin Wright. He had 101 tackles last year.
Good gracious.
10.5 for loss as a middle linebacker. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what they do with him. I think they had him as an or right now on the depth chart. So I don't know if that's just trying to get get a
Oh,
little
shoot,
bit battle.
I thought you said
Right.
no oars.
Well, no oars on the offensive line. No oars
Oh,
on
I
the
see, I
offensive
see,
line.
I see.
Yeah. A little bit of oars on the defense every now
Oars
and then.
oars can be good or bad. It's like
Yeah,
either,
exactly.
golly, neither of these guys have really played well enough to earn it, or you've got two studs and they're battling it out, and you're like, we're happy with either of these guys.
That's what I'm hoping for.
And the coach always tells you, hey, we're happy with either of these guys, but you don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah, you don't know.
Exactly. So we'll see what happens there. But one other guy is Leon Johnson III, who he's a receiver, which I'd be interested to see how much he plays this year, but transferred from a D3 school. In 10 games last year, he had 55 receptions for 1,156 yards and 14 touchdowns in D3.
Okay.
So kind of a big question
So he's
mark.
at least better than a D3 player.
Yeah, exactly. So it could be a little X factor, a little unseen X factor coming into the season.
That's a fun guy to root for.
But we'll see. We'll see. They could also redshirt him, so we don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a few other guys, of course, but it's kind of all the guys that I'm like super excited to see.
All right. So I guess the moment we've been kind of hinting a lot. What's the fan mood? What are you trying to get at with the coaching situation? How are you feeling about it?
So, luckily enough, so this one guy, Dave Hudson, does a OSU fan survey every year. And he just released it today, thankfully.
Okay.
So I actually have some data for you. So let's see. So I think he had about 1,300 responses on this. So I mean, as far as online fans go, I mean, it's a pretty good sample size.
Yeah.
So he has an approval rating for Gundy. The fan approval rating for Gundy this year is 78%.
That's higher than I expected.
Yes, it is high, of course.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, one thing is, you got to – Mike Gundy's been Mike Gundy for a lot of years.
I didn't know if that'd be working against him,
So
he's been good. He's been success for y'all, but he's never won the big ones. So,
exactly.
Fans get restless. But 78%, I mean, most fan bases would take that.
But, so he's been doing this survey since 2008, and that is the third lowest percent that Gundy has had.
I mean, that's really not even that bad to me. That's crazy.
It's not. But I do
that's
think
good.
It is great. It's great. However, I do think that's a sign of how fans are feeling about Gundy in terms of course, it's still good, but, it's still...
It's been better, obviously, yeah.
Coming into last season, it was 95% approval rating, and it's dropped down to 78% this year.
That's what happens when you play in the Big 12 championship and then the next year fall off a cliff, I guess.
Exactly. So I think a big thing with Gundy is he's just so stubborn in his kind of recruiting ways, and now with kind of the portal in terms of, I don't think he's really trying to, once guys are in the program now, you kind of got to recruit them back a little bit. These kind of guys are on the fence, and I think Gundy's kind of just stubborn with it. And he's like, you're either here or you're not, and he's not going to do much, which,
right.
He's Mike Gundy.
Yeah.
So he's kind of earned the right to do that, I mean, super winning coach. OSU is nowhere near where we are without Gundy. But I think if we come out and we don't have a good season this year, I think starting next season he might be a little bit on the hot seat.
Yeah.
Because like you said, he's been around for a while, and that kind of, you can be around a little bit too long with not having enough high success.
Yeah, and if he's not willing to change with the times, it's going to make it hard to. And he's not even beating around the bush. He's just telling you this all sucks. I don't want to do any of this, and so it's hard to hear that from your head coach because you're like, the players hear it too. Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there, but yeah, I mean, I'm very lukewarm. I go back and forth on Gundy because, the grass is always greener. Once we get rid of him, it sucks because, we haven't really had too much success under anyone else, so we don't know,
right.
We don't know what the program
is it because of him or is it, Yeah,
exactly. Or have we kind of gotten to this place where we can kind of, start kind of bringing in guys to help us compete even more?
I think your blueprint has to be K-State when they had Bill Snyder and he turned that whole thing around.
Yep.
And then they got a new coach and they immediately tanked. And then he had to come back. And when he came back the second time, when he retired, they found the right coach the second time. And now they're still good. So it's it's all about that second hire now too. Got to
Yeah,
nail that.
it is. But we'll see. Like I said, I mean, as a fan, I cannot remember a Mike Gundy-less OSU football team. That's all
That's
I've known.
crazy.
I mean, year I was born is when Les Miles was hired, and I think he was there for 5 seasons. And then after that, it's just been Gundy. So,
yeah,
obviously,
that's what I'm saying. That's a long time.
Yeah. So fans are still pretty high on Gundy, but
it's waning.
We'll see how this season goes. But Gundy's best when his back is up against a wall. So
did you see Josh Pate picked y'all to go to the Big 12 championship this year?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's high praise. It's
like I said, our schedule.
That
schedule. So
hey, if it's Tech versus Oklahoma State, I will be a happy guy.
That would be awesome. As long as it's not OU or Texas in there.
So true.
I'll honestly be happy.
I think I'm in the same boat.
I am pretty scared about one of them being in there, though, I will say.
I'm scared about both of them, but anything can happen. It's also just a fun season, so
true.
I'm excited. I'm excited about this 14-team Big 12.
Yeah, it'll be a fun, exciting season.
All right, let's jump into what has to happen for a good season. What do you think is best case scenario for y'all? Do you believe that they can make it to the Big 12 championship game?
I do, but I don't have that in mind. I have 5 things listed.
Okay.
And so here's what I got. Number 1, I think we could lose every single game, but if we beat OU in the final Bedlam game in Stillwater, I'll be a happy man. That's all I need.
That's true rivalry right there. I love that.
That is all I need. 2, I would say, is win 8+ games in the season. I mean, we're picked to finish, I think, 7th in the Big 12 by the media. So
that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, our win total is like 6.5, and
yeah,
I'd bet the over.
100%. Me too.
So yeah, I think 8 wins is kind of the goal for the season.
Yeah,
that's what I'd like to see. And then 3 would be Ollie Gordon looks great at the running back position, and Rangel when he gets in, whether he's starting or he's kind of just playing those blowout minutes or those injury minutes, he looks really good and promising in those because also got to set up for the future, and hopefully we can keep those guys around. 4 is the O-line produces, stays healthy, vastly improves from last year. And then 5 is good old Brian Nardo's defense kind of holds up in the Big 12, and we can actually look forward to more good defenses in the future.
Yeah, I think those are good keys. I mean, you got to hit on the quarterback and you got to hit on the defensive, new defensive play caller. And if you do that, you're right. I think the season goes good for y'all for sure.
Yep.
But it's so interesting too because it's just like such wild cards, both of those things. Mm-hmm. Like I don't know if there's maybe Baylor, but I don't know if there's any team that's more up in the air than you guys.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Is there anything other than just the opposite of those things happening that could influence a bad season?
I mean, yeah. I mean, there's a few things. I mean, one, everything could go wrong because, like we're talking about, it's just a wild card of what could happen.
So many new faces.
Exactly. Injuries was a problem for us last year, so
always,
that keeps up. If Bowman and Rangel both kind of flop or get injured, then Gunnar Gundy's in at quarterback again. So
I could just see the happiness on his face. just at the mention.
Just the shaking again, man. I felt so bad for him. Just the whole meme that came from that.
Oh yeah.
And then I think my biggest fear is another kind of portal exodus after the season. Yeah. And I do think that would truly put Gundy on the burn.
He would have to. He would have to. You can't lose every player every year.
Exactly.
Like when Spencer Sanders is transferring out and then is the third string at Ole Miss, you're like, what is going on? Like, why did he leave?
Exactly. So, but that one's probably good, I guess. Is Sanders I love Sanders on a competitor level, but on more levels, I think it was time for sure to kind of get something fresh in. Yeah, for sure.
That's fair. We can jump into game-by-game predictions.
Sucks that we're not playing Tech, but I am happy not to be playing Texas and TCU. I will say that. Texas scares me this year, I will say.
Yeah, everyone buys the Texas hype, and I get it. They're always so much better than us.
Man, I normally don't buy the Texas. Yeah, I normally don't buy the Texas hype, but they're getting me this year because that roster is. If Sark does not win with this roster, they got to get rid of him. Because if you can't at least make a Big 12 title game with the talent they have, it's ridiculous.
But we say that every year.
It's true.
That's what kills
it's
me.
True.
That's
it's
true.
true.
I understand. I'm buying into it a little bit too, because everyone's picking them. Everyone's talking about how great their talent is, and I'm just like, I get it. But Sark has never won 10 games in his career.
I know.
So
that's the thing.
It's like, do we really think they're going to turn it around now and just be world beaters that they should be? I mean, They haven't been since 2009. So
hey, maybe if they lock Sark up and just don't let him do anything, they might have a chance.
You must have heard the Texas podcast because our Texas friends are not fans of Sark. They're fans of his recruiting, but boy, But
yeah.
Y'all don't play them, so that is great for y'all.
That's what I'm saying. I'm happy for that.
First one, Central Arkansas. That's a win, right?
Yeah, that's by far the most confident win I have for this season.
And then y'all play a future Big 12 matchup, Arizona State.
Yeah.
At Arizona State.
Yeah, in Tempe. So it's
at 9:30.
That's going to be an interesting game, I think, because, Arizona State's kind of a wild card right now because, new coach, Kenny Dillingham. They just named that freshman quarterback the starter. So that kind of scares me because no game film, which the good thing is I feel really bad for all the early season GAs for the other team having to pull up film from Gannon University to watch how the defense plays.
How the defense works.
So
I mean, I'm sure everyone's,
that could work well for us. But, I think that game's going to be kind of a struggle, and I do think Arizona State could surprise people a little bit, but I'm still pretty confident in that game that we're going to win. I think we just have more talent and Gundy with the experience coaching over a first-year head coach. Yeah. I'm feeling confident about that one too. So 2-0 start the season. Then we we're in Stillwater for this game, but South Alabama.
Sneaky good team.
Yeah, I was going to say, I bet whenever they scheduled this a few years ago, they thought it would be a little bit more of a lock than it's going to end up being.
I still think it's a lock, but I'm with you. Like, they're probably going, this is not the cupcake we're hoping.
I think I'm more confident in the Arizona State win than I am in the South
Really?
Alabama. I'm a little bit scared of that game. I'll be real, just because.
If South Alabama beats, who are they playing? They're playing another big school week 1. If they beat them, though, then they might be feeling themselves.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. So I'd still count that as a win. So 3-0 going into Big 12 play.
Man, y'all schedule. All right, now you're playing Iowa State.
Yeah, and we're in Iowa State. But the good thing is Iowa State is going to be playing a bunch of third stringers because.
Oh my goodness, will they be able to field a team?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna chalk that one up as a win.
Yeah.
I would say it's probably my second most confident win on the whole schedule.
I would say the only reason it's not is just because you're playing there. Like, I probably would put some of these other guys a little more confident.
We'll see. I'm feeling pretty good about the Iowa State one.
All right, next is Kansas State, and that's
I'm going to chalk that one up as an L. We got to lose.
What's the history with K-State? How do y'all fare with them usually?
Well, last year they beat us 48-0. So.
Oh, I forgot about that game.
Yeah, I'll never forget that one. As I was helping with homecoming for school, and then got the TV on, and I'm like, "Hey, man, hoping to bounce back from this TCU game." Safe to say, we did not.
No,
so
fair.
Yeah,
that's a loss.
So, and I think there's a good chance Kansas State might be the best team in the Big 12 this year. Great. I think Kleiman is a phenomenal coach. So,
me too.
I'll chalk that one up as an L. And next week is the Kansas game, which I'm interested to see how this goes. I'm really interested to see how this goes. The good thing is it's in Stillwater, and that helps. But I think I kind of buy into the Kansas offense, but I still think we win this game because I don't think the Kansas defense is going to be.
That'll be the key for Kansas all season.
Mm-hmm.
I bet Kansas sees y'all on the schedule though and goes, "That's an offense we might can match."
Right. So this is honestly a game. I mean, I'll probably definitely feel different about this by the time we get to this week, but I could see this going 50-50. I could see us losing this game.
Yeah.
But in terms of me being somewhat optimistic, I'm going to put it down as a W.
I like it.
But I could see it not
Optimism.
going our way. The next week we go to West Virginia. I'm going to count that as a dub. I was listening to the West Virginia episode, and Nate kind of going crazy with the West Virginia schedule. I don't think
the 8-5 cracks me up.
Yeah, I don't think Neil Brown's saving his job this season.
Me neither. Those first 4 games are rough.
Yeah,
for them.
Yeah.
So by the time y'all are playing them, they might have a new coach and they might be throwing in the towel.
Yep. So I'm feeling confident about that. Then we play Cincy and count that up as a dub. So going into OU, I only got one loss. One loss. And I haven't looked at OU schedule, but I also know it's pretty easy too. So
yeah, very similar. The their hardest teams are Oklahoma State and Texas, probably.
Texas, yeah. So I've watched OSU play OU a lot in my life, and I would be an idiot to pick against OU in this game. So I'm going to pick OU to win for our second loss of the season.
I see the pain, and I understand it, because I picked Tech to lose to Texas in their last game, and I'm like, my heart says we will win this game, but my mind says probably not.
Oh yeah, I mean, if we win the final Bedlam game, that's all I need.
Sweet, yeah,
that's all I need. Sweet. The next week we go to Orlando, to UCF, and I am not feeling good about that game. I think UCF's a pretty solid football team. November games on the road, tough to win.
At least you don't have to worry about the weather.
That's true.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to count that as a loss for us. I think we're going to go back-to-back losses there.
Yeah, that place will be rocking for sure.
Yeah. I'm excited to see how that fan base does and with
the
big teams. It's going to be fun to watch.
I'm so excited for this season.
I know. It's going to be awesome. The next game we got is Houston. I do think Houston's kind of made some improvements overall based on not a ton of research, but kind of looking at the roster a little bit and seeing all the new guys they got in. But I still don't think they're going to be upper tier. And so I got that as a dub.
Nice. Okay.
Plus, I mean, I've seen, pictures of the Houston Stadium every now and then, so I'm not too scared about the home field advantage there.
Yeah, Houston's really got to work on that fan base.
Yeah.
Which they can do. I mean, this is the first step towards that. But
hey, it's true. But I don't see that place rocking.
I was going to say, talking about an atmosphere for UCF, probably not seeing the same thing with Houston unless they just have an amazing season.
Not at all. Final week of the season is BYU. I count that as a dub too, I think, because that's in Stillwater.
Yeah, that helps.
And I mean, like I said, just getting those last 3 against the
new guys.
The new guys, they don't necessarily have the depth yet.
Last 4 of the 5.
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy.
And I still think we'll lose one of them anyways, but yeah, I think that's a big help for us. So hopefully I'm looking 9-3 this season.
That's a fun season.
Yeah, and it would be obviously a huge improvement on last year. I could see anywhere from 5 to 10 wins with this schedule. So,
yeah.
And that's just in the once we get to the bowl game, we'll see. I mean, I could see us getting to 10 with the bowl game and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, just in the regular season schedule, I could see 5 to 10 wins.
It's crazy too. That's just kind of how the Big 12 feels. Also, like most teams are just like, we see about 5 to 10 wins here.
Hey.
So most of us will end up in that middle ground.
And that's going to be the nice thing about the whole new Big 12 too, is that I mean,
won't have any top-heavy, money-hungry teams at the top.
Exactly. Even though OU and Texas haven't necessarily been at the top the last few years,
not on the field, but they always make more money. They always carry a bigger stick.
They still loom over.
Yep.
Still loom over all the time, which that's going to be nice to have OU out of the Big 12 for us, because
for sure,
man, that's something OSU fans are excited for. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, I think all the fans are excited for it. I mean, as long as we can stay that third tier conference, I think we'll be just fine, and it'll honestly be probably better for all these teams.
Oh, and I think the Big 12, it's going to be a better product than the SEC or the Big 10, because I mean, you know what you're getting with those. Exactly, you know what you're getting with those when it's just the
Alabama or Georgia, and sometimes LSU. That's what you get. And then for Big Ten, it's Ohio State, Michigan, and then sometimes Penn State.
Yep, but
and that's about it.
It's gonna be fun, and we're gonna get those Pac-12 after dark games now.
Yeah.
Which those are gonna be great.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I'm excited, man.
I am too. Good things coming.
Including this season. So I'll be rooting. I'll be a semi Oklahoma State fan since we don't play each other this year, and you've got our ex quarterback. So I'll be rooting for y'all. Any parting thoughts you want to say? Anything you want to plug?
Oh man, I don't know. I got nothing. So I'm just gonna say I'm always rooting for Tech. I love Joey McGuire's energy. I love to see the Bransons happy.
Don't we all? Oh yeah.
I love to see the Bransons happy.
That's a good friend right there. That's a good friend.
And yeah, I mean, like I said, I hope you guys are good because I want both of us to be good. So
yeah,
that's an issue.
If we're making a trip to Dallas here at the end of the season to watch our teams play each other, that would just be fabulous.
Dude, that would be awesome. I would love to have that happen. One real quick thing is with the survey, they asked OSU fans to name the top 3 teams that they want to see become like the main rival for OSU.
Yeah.
And
Tech
was the overwhelming favorite.
Let's go. What was do you have the stats?
It doesn't say the numbers. It just kind of got like a bar graph here. But yeah, it's not even close because second and third are Kansas State and Baylor. But those are like kind of neck and neck, but they are probably, I don't know, 3/4 of the bar that Tech is. So, yeah.
I bet we'd be the same. There's not really
probably. It makes too much sense, the fan base is always going back and forth about who did what first, and
there's history.
Exactly. And Tech fans, I say this with the utmost respect, you guys are the worst. You guys are mean.
We might be the worst, but y'all like all our traditions. You just pick them out one by one and decide they're yours.
One of my favorite quotes about Tech fans is an OSU media guy, and he said, Lubbock is the only place he's been to where the children, the parents, and the grandparents will all be cursing out the refs and the other teams.
That means he hadn't gone to many football games. That's all I can say.
Hey, my one experience in Lubbock is the fans getting a warning for throwing stuff on the field. So I'll say that held up for me.
Say it chipped out for you. Yeah, that's fair. Was it tortillas? Because that doesn't count.
No, it was actual trash. Trash.
Okay. Well, we were probably getting screwed over somehow. So
probably. That's how it always goes, right?
That's right. All right, dude. Well, thanks for being on the podcast.
Thanks for having me on.
All listening, please give us the 5-star rating. That's the best way we can get seen. But all right, catch you later.
Go Pokes. You need that one.
Wreck 'em. All right, now we can stop.